Spark and Seed proudly presents 2024 Destructive Flood in Southeast Asia. The 2024 Southeast Asia flood has been one of the region's most catastrophic natural disasters in decades, leaving widespread destruction in Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, and posing severe implications for Cambodia as well. As floodwaters ravaged these countries, millions of people were displaced, properties were destroyed, and the loss of life continues to mount. This video explores the historical context of flooding in the region, the probable causes of the 2024 flood, and China's contribution to the disaster through its upstream water management, with a particular focus on the devastating consequences for each affected country and the downstream implications for Cambodia. Southeast Asia has long grappled with seasonal floods, especially during the monsoon season from June to October. The region's major rivers, such as the Mekong, Irrawaddy, and Salween, are vital for agriculture, fisheries, and livelihoods, but they also pose significant flood risks. While periodic flooding is a natural occurrence, providing nutrients to farmlands, it has also caused recurring devastation. Major floods in the past, such as in 2011 and 2000, displaced millions and caused billions in economic damage. However, climate change has intensified the scale and unpredictability of these floods. Rising global temperatures have increased the severity of rainfall, while rampant deforestation and rapid urbanization have reduced the natural ability of the land to manage excess water. The 2024 flood was the result of a combination of factors that led to widespread destruction in Southeast Asia. Torrential rainfall caused by the intensified El Niño Southern Oscillation, ENSO, overwhelmed the region. Areas that typically experience heavy monsoons saw record-breaking rainfall, with some regions receiving 250% of their normal monsoon precipitation. The rain caused rivers to overflow, triggering flash floods, landslides, and submerging vast stretches of agricultural land. The floods severely impacted the Mekong, Irrawaddy, and Salween river systems, all of which flow through densely populated regions. In Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, and Laos, the topography, ranging from low-lying deltas to mountainous terrains, further compounded the flood's devastation. Urban areas were hit hardest as the water overwhelmed infrastructure and homes. Deforestation, particularly in Myanmar and Laos, left the region more vulnerable to flooding. With fewer trees to absorb excess rainfall, water rapidly surged into rivers and reservoirs, raising water levels dangerously. Years of illegal logging, unregulated agricultural expansion, and mining activity eroded the region's natural defenses against floods. The rapid urbanization in Southeast Asia's major cities left them ill-prepared to deal with a flood of this magnitude. Poorly planned cities with insufficient drainage systems, flood defenses, and emergency response measures became overwhelmed, leaving millions of urban dwellers vulnerable to rising waters. As of late 2024, the floods have left a devastating toll across Southeast Asia, with each country suffering immense losses. In Myanmar, the floodwaters destroyed entire villages, particularly in the Irrawaddy Delta region. Approximately 300,000 homes were destroyed, and over 800 people have lost their lives so far. The flood has severely impacted agricultural production, with rice paddies and livestock fields submerged underwater, threatening food security in a country already struggling with political instability. Humanitarian aid efforts are underway, but poor infrastructure and road access have made relief efforts challenging. Thailand's northern and northeastern regions were hit hardest by the floods, particularly in the Chiang Rai and Ubon Ratchathani provinces. The flooding displaced more than 1.2 million people, with 500 confirmed deaths and thousands of others missing. Economic losses have exceeded $8 billion, particularly in agriculture, where the country's crucial rice and rubber plantations have been decimated. The flooding of industrial estates has also impacted manufacturing, further straining the Thai economy. The Mekong Delta in southern Vietnam, one of the world's largest rice-producing regions, has been devastated by the flood. Over 900,000 hectares of farmland have been submerged, and more than 600,000 people have been forced from their homes. Fatalities have reached over 600 as the government struggles to provide relief. Economic losses in Vietnam are estimated to be around $10 billion, with significant damage to infrastructure, homes, and industries. The mountainous regions of Laos experienced severe landslides and flooding, particularly along the Mekong River. More than 250,000 people have been displaced, and at least 300 lives have been lost. Laos, which is heavily reliant on hydroelectric dams, faces a significant risk as the floodwaters have damaged several dam structures, raising fears of further environmental disasters. China, as an upstream country along the Mekong River, plays a critical role in the region's water management. Its network of more than 11 large dams along the Lancang River, the upper reaches of the Mekong, has long been a source of tension between China and downstream nations, as the dam releases have had uncertain impacts on the Mekong's flow. Southern China experienced record rainfall in 2024, which added to the growing volumes of water in its dams. As the rain continued, China was forced to release vast amounts of water from its reservoirs to prevent dam failure, contributing to the already swollen river systems downstream in Myanmar, Laos, Thailand, Vietnam, and Cambodia. Despite calls for greater transparency and cooperation in water management, China released water from its dams with little coordination with its Southeast Asian neighbors. These sudden water releases, especially during peak flooding, overwhelmed the downstream Mekong River, exacerbating the flood's impact in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. The unpredictable nature of these releases further complicated relief and evacuation efforts. Over time, China's dams have trapped vast amounts of sediment, which would have naturally flowed downstream to replenish riverbanks and delta regions. This has weakened the Mekong Delta's resilience to flooding, as sediment loss increases erosion and reduces the region's ability to withstand extreme weather events. The cumulative effect in 2024 has been catastrophic for Vietnam's rice production, a staple for the country and a key export. Cambodia, as a downstream country in the Mekong River system, is bracing for the full impact of the 2024 flood. The Mekong River runs through the heart of Cambodia, and much of its population relies on the river for agriculture, fishing, and transportation. Though Cambodia has been less directly affected compared to its upstream neighbors, the implications are severe. Cambodia's vital rice-growing regions along the Mekong and Tonle Sap are at risk. The floodwaters, which are expected to rise in Cambodia in the coming weeks, could devastate rice paddies, further compounding regional food shortages. Farmers who depend on the Mekong for irrigation are already facing difficulties, with many crops flooded beyond recovery. Thousands of Cambodians living along the Mekong have begun evacuating as water levels rise. The Cambodian government has issued warnings of potential disease outbreaks, such as cholera, dengue fever, and malaria, which typically follow large floods due to stagnant water and poor sanitation. Cambodia's economy, heavily dependent on agriculture, could suffer billions in losses if the floodwaters devastate the country's farmland and fisheries. The flood is likely to disrupt the livelihoods of millions of Cambodians, many of whom are already living in poverty. International aid and government assistance will be critical in the coming months to support recovery efforts. The 2024 Southeast Asia flood is a stark reminder of the growing environmental challenges facing the region. This disaster is the result of a confluence of natural factors, including intense rainfall and climate change, compounded by human activities such as deforestation, urbanization, and uncoordinated water management. China's dam releases have played a pivotal role in exacerbating the crisis downstream, particularly in Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. As the floodwaters recede, Southeast Asia will face the monumental task of rebuilding homes, restoring livelihoods, and ensuring that future disasters are met with greater preparedness and regional cooperation. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment or two. At Spark and Seed, igniting ideas, growing knowledge.